friendships.
Absolutely.
How can you help identify that? Because I know from experience, not really much, being around people where it's like whatever their friend tell them, they're going to believe, they're going to do. And that's like a big problem now with our young people, that they listen to everybody. They listen to this one friend. Like, it's like this one friend tells them whatever, and they're going to believe it. So what is the signs of abusive friendship?
A lot of the same, right? That controlling, that telling you what to do, that making you feel as though so I had a friend that was abusive, and I didn't recognize it because it was still from the place of low self-esteem. So my worth was now defined also by that friend. And one day someone said to me, does that friend, and not if they didn't matter, but for this friend, he said, does that friend have anything, or have they ever done something that you want to accomplish in life? And I was like, no. He said, so why are you so fixated on her view about who you are? So then I had to check that. I had to really dig deep inside and say, okay, Anika, what's wrong with you? What's happening with you? So with our children, we have to talk to them about, kids come home, this is my friend, this is my friend. Don't be afraid to talk to them from 5 years old about, let's talk about what a friend is. So when I talk to my 14-year-old from very, very young, let me tell you, I used to have him, I still do, it get on his nerves, but I would have him watch like 48 hours with me. And there was one episode where a friend wanted to go commit a crime, the other friend thought it was funny, he went with him, someone was murdered, he ended up in jail. I make him watch it with me to give real life examples, right? To talk to him about friends' respect for you.
That's right.
Their respect. And so he's not allowed to have social media. If a friend is telling you, oh, your parent doesn't have to know, and they're trying to coerce you, that's not a friend.
That's not a
because
friend.
you still have to come home to mommy.
That's
Okay?
right.
We talk about the coercion, sexual coercion between young people. Right? I talked to my son. So when he was 5, my mom could tell you, and this is a funny story, so I tell it everywhere. He was 5, he went in the bedroom, after the shower, he locked the door. My mom said, you let him lock the door? Because some of y'all real old school. Nobody lock doors in your houses, right? That's it. I said, yeah. He just got out the shower. I said to her, we have to, I say this with respect, because a lot of you that are older than 50 wasn't given this. But we have to do it now. We have to give autonomy of body to young people. So if my son does not want me to see his body, if my son does not want me to come into the room when he's getting undressed, then the same way I want him to feel like that's his body at home, that's the only way to teach him that that's his body outside. So it's having those conversations with our young people. It's recognizing what's friendships for them. But it's also demonstrating, because we can't tell our children how to have certain friendships, but we bring in toxic people around them. So first we got to check with ourselves, what's toxic in my life before I demonstrate that to my child.
Right. Yes. Yes, we was talking about mental abuse and emotional and verbal abuse and where it come from. And I'm just speaking from first-hand experience, growing up in a household where it was just all around. Not just a household, but family members. The abuse, the way that they cuss at you, they curse, it's constant over and over again, and it's just like this cancer in the home and in families, where it's constantly you're being called F words, B word, stupid, dumb, simple, constantly, how do you address those issues with family when it is grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, cousin, all around you, and you like, I'm speaking, let me be transparent. For me, growing up in that environment, I was looking at these people like they were crazy. I was like, wow. And I grew up, but it was uncomfortable for me. I'm like, why are you talking to me like that? Why are you saying that? And I was an outcast because I was like, I don't accept it. And I don't know where it come from. I come from my Lord, but I was like, I can't accept it. I don't want to be around it. So I was mistreated and cast down and stepped on and made me feel like nothing. Like I was told I was dumb, stupid, retarded, ain't gonna amount to nothing. I'm going on the street, teenage mother, high school dropout, all kinds of
Very powerful question. I'm glad you asked it. How many of you can, whether your own experience or someone you know, can relate? Right. That's more than half of this space. Is it real? Yes. Parents, I'm a parent. Parents parent how they were parented. Right? You parent from what you know. You parent from what you understand. You parent from what you've seen until that cycle is broken, until either you, as you get older, see something different, or God just put a different kind of strength in you to say, daughter, don't receive that, right? That has to be broken. The conversations we have now, some of y'all might get mad, is being able, yeah, I ain't gonna like this, I'm not gonna like it. Being able to give our children, our grandchildren, our nieces and nephews, permission to say, I don't like.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna challenge. Y'all ready? Because I'm gonna challenge it a little bit. We want it respectfully. The Bible said, "Don't provoke your children to anger."
Right. That part.
So we provoke. We do. We provoke and we provoke and we provoke because I said so. We provoke. We provoke. We yell because it's my way.
That's right.
And now when now we're angry because they're being disrespectful, or are they only exhibiting what they see? And so now the permission is, if we start it early and we exhibit it correctly, it'll be respectful, right? I text my son, it was some challenge, text your child some ugly sneakers. So and see what their response is. I texted to my 14-year-old and I said, Stinker, I bought you these, they come in the white. His response was, no thank you. And then he goes, but no offense. And so my friend said to me, wow, Nika, you raised him right, because their friends was like, I don't want that, don't buy me that, right? But I've given him from young permission. I'm a social worker. My son from very young has had the language of how do you feel and what are your thoughts to teach him, right? So one day, and my mom, we've talked about this before, she's okay, so it's funny. One day when he was 7, my mom picked him up and she said something to him that y'all will probably said to y'all kids. Boy, get over here. Are you deaf? You don't hear me calling you? How many of you ever said that? Yes. Yeah. It's common. Y'all black. Yeah. You know, that's what we do, right? That's what we do. I came home and he said, Mom, I did not feel safe with grandma today. Now, I'm a New York State licensed social worker. I work in the New York City child welfare system. You say I'm a right? You say the word safe to me, my ear it automatically will tell me more. What do you mean? So I'm like, well, Stinker, you know, like talk to me. What happened? You know, he described the situation. Well, Grandma and I were going someplace. You know, Mom, when you don't know where you're going, you let me figure it out. But Grandma just wanted to keep on going. She didn't want me to help. She didn't want me to help her. That's probably true, right? she didn't want the help. He said, Mom, but you let me help you. And then when I was walking, Grandma said, Nathaniel, you get over here. What are you, deaf? He said, Mom, she knows I'm not deaf. He was 7. Why would she ask me that? And then he said, I just didn't feel safe. I said, physically or emotionally? He said, I didn't feel safe emotionally when she said that. She knows I'm not, so why would she even ask me that type of question, right? But I've taught him that from young. I've given him permission to even sometimes when we're talking, and if I like jump in, he has permission respectfully, and it's respectful because I've taught him from young. He has permission to say, Mom, can I finish? Why? Because sometimes we jump in, don't know what they're going to say, and we just go because we're the parent. But he has permission. It's right. You still going through it? You still going through it? I'm 38. I still go through it too.
It's a traditional thing.
That's a generational thing.
My mom pretty much like our parents here. They're in their 60s. So they was taught a child to be seen, not heard. And it was passed down to generation to generation. So they don't get how we parented, because now I'm a grandmother and things that my daughter do, I be like, she's like, he can't have this. I be like, yes he can. And I'm like, said, Mom, listen, you can't, that's her baby.
That's right. Yeah, I did.
He's not being hurt, he's not being abused. That's her baby.
Yes, you have to
Because
let
mama
them
wanted to
parent.
give him some medicine. And now these new parents like, no, don't give my kid no Manitoba. No, he's gonna give Manitoba in here. Because you won't be this baby and he can't go to sleep by himself because you don't have him on the schedule. But I'm just using that as my daughter called her, she was like, stop giving her that. And I said, when she left, I said to my mom, I said, you know what, she's right, because we could over medicate him.
Yeah.
And this baby could die, all because we want him to sit down.
Because you want to sleep.
But sometimes we gotta take the traditional,
Yeah.
as well as we gotta accept the new.
Yeah.
So, you know what word that is? It's passed down generations. Trauma is generational. Let's be clear. Trauma is generational. Trauma is locked into our bodies. So even in trauma, the things we've experienced, we can develop PTSD,
Yes.
depression, right? We can develop these from that trauma. And so now, when I interact with my child, I'm reacting from that place of trauma. So I'm not really my authentic self to parent because I'm still stuck in my trauma. And so we have to, as we learn, say, I don't want to repeat that. Not that my parent was bad, not that my grandparent was bad. They did the best they could. They did at the time what they knew.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have, when I was 16, my mom came to my siblings and I. She was a single parent, 4 kids. I'm the oldest, so I remember everything. They don't remember everything. I remember everything. At 16, she came to us and said, I want to apologize. She said, I was growing up as I was raising y'all. And I made a lot of mistakes.
Yes, yep.
And I apologize. And at 16, what did that now mean? That meant at 16, I had to decide, am I going to carry trauma or am I going to be free? Right? We have to make the decision. You also got to be okay with apologizing to your children.
Right.
If you went off,
That's right.
if you went off, you step back, because you heard the Lord. If you heard the Lord, I've heard one time I was going off with my son because my son is 14. He is 6'1". He weighs 194 pounds, not because he's fat or chunky. He's solid. He wears size 4. No, he's just solid. Solid boy. Size 14, 15 sneakers.
Jeez.
Right.
That's a shame.
That's I know. Listen, stop, right? He's 14. And one day, when he was 11, people would tell me, listen, he's getting older. He's getting taller than you. So you gotta let him know who's in control. You gotta do this, you gotta do that. So that's that generation and that trauma that is trickled down on how to raise and train and treat your children. You gotta break them in order to let them know who's boss. And so they said, listen, let them know. My son is a well-behaved kid. We just came from open school. Every teacher is like, he is such a polite kid. He's respectful, he's engaging, he's a well-behaved child. But I couldn't see him from that.